you're thinking about getting a semi-automatic rifle, why would you pick the mini14? Well, let's go over some of the cons of probably why you wouldn't want to pick the mini14 when you're comparing it to a rival semi-automatic rifle. This one's going to cost more. A lot of people's eyes, it's going to be less accurate. It's harder to break down. It's not as versatile. It's going to be slower to reload. The things I just mentioned are several of the things that would be on the top of the list as cons for why you wouldn't want this rifle. So if we go on the other side of the equation, why would you want this rifle? I think for a lot of folks, it's either going to be, you either like it or you don't like it. And if you do like it, the mini14 has the resemblance of a traditional rifle. You can get aftermarket stocks like this one I have on there, which complements it very well. And it just resembles a traditional rifle. If the history of rifles interests you in any way whatsoever, the history of this action may draw you back to the original concept for this action, which would be the M1 Garand. So then after the M1 Garand, you had the M1 Carbine, and then you had the M14. And so for a lot of people, when it comes to the M1 Garand, yes, there are people who have those, but typically you don't want to carry around a 10 to 12 pound rifle that's that big and bulky and shoot such a large round that's not very cost effective. And then if you went to the M1 Carbine, well, to get a pretty good copy of one of those, you're going to spend a pretty penny on it, and then you're going to be with a 30 caliber carbine round, which is more or less obsolete today and, less effective with the 30 caliber round. Then if you go to the M14, larger round that's not quite as cost effective as shooting the 223. So if you want to get something that resembles a rifle, and this fits in a very nice place between having an M1 Garand or an M14 or an M1 Carbine. The action of the mini14 definitely has a lineage back to the M1 Garand. Is it exactly the same? No. But the concept and overall operation is very, very similar. Same with the M1 Carbine, same with the M14. So you have that old traditional classic action that has just such a nostalgic history in firearms development, and you can still get it today in a very reliable, very functional round with the mini14. The accuracy of these is always going to be debatable. And when we're talking about the accuracy of this, how accurate do you need to be? I've done plenty of testing where I've shot it out to 300 and 400 yards. And for me, if I'm shooting a 7 or 8 inch group for this rifle, that's fine with me at 400 yards. Is it as accurate as other rifles? Probably not, but for me, it's accurate enough. But I'm still going to go back to the fact, if you like a traditional rifle look, and with the flush mount magazine, if this rifle's presented or you're hunting with it and you're walking through a field and someone sees this, it's going to look very much like just a standard rifle. It's not going to look like the boogeyman rifle. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more money than another semi-automatic type rifle or other semi-automatic type rifles, I think you would enjoy the mini14 as long as you're comfortable with some of its limitations, like not being as versatile with all the places to hang objects on, being less accurate than other platforms, and costing a little more. I'm not trying to be a super advocate for the mini14 by any means, nor am I trying to convince you that this is the absolute one you need to get. But if you're considering a semi-automatic rifle and you like more of a traditional rifle type look, the mini14 is certainly a viable option to consider if you want a semi-automatic rifle in a cost-effective round and fairly effective round in the 223. And I think you would enjoy it, and I think you would like it. But if you're going to strictly compare it to something like an AR platform, then you may be disappointed with some of its limitations. Hope you enjoyed this. And if you're considering a semi-automatic type rifle, the mini14, in my opinion, is definitely a viable choice.